Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief. It's currently Wednesday the 22nd of June. Okay, solid night last night for the equities, the Dow having quite a strong night, up quite a bit, which was good. European markets also relatively firm. Looks like the market's getting complacent about what's happening in Greece. As a result of that, we've seen sort of a market recovery. They feel as if they won't default on their sovereign debt, which comes due next month. As a result of that, things are a little bit more optimistic of how Europe's going to trade. So if anything, they're quite positive. And as a result of that, equity markets, US dollar and commodities also reacted to it. So quite good. But let's run through a few of the market as to what happened. Let's have a look at a quick overview. And that's just coming up here. Skip that ad. Okay, the Dow up 109 points, 12,190. S&P up 17, the Nasdaq up 57, relatively solid. As you can see, Europe took it quite positively. The top 50 was up 53, the FTSE up 81, the CAC was up 77, the DAX up 135. So local market also had a bit of a rebound, up 34 at 45, 43. So if anything, they're quite solid and quite nice, in fact, to actually see that we've had some solid gains. That does put a little bit of a low in place for the equity markets, and I think over the next couple of days, if we continue to see optimism from Europe, that will spread to other markets. The key here, obviously, is whether or not the negative news in the economic news in the States is going to have an overriding factor. Remember, new home sales there fell again for the first time in 6 months, and with unemployment continuing to rise there, I think it becomes a little bit of an issue across the board. Of other note, around the traps, I guess if anything, some comments, stocks the cheapest in 26 years. All these little bits, consumer confidence out of sync. A little bit more news there. China, a little bit of interest coming out of there, and I guess this is the key one here. Existing home sales in the US fell in May to 6-month low. A lot of people thinking there could be a bit of a low there. FOMC is the big one tonight, but as you can see here, Bernanke may prolong a record in stimulus. QE3, I don't know, and probably don't think it's warranted at the moment. Okay, let's have a look as we always do. Let's have a look at dollar index first. 74.99 with that good strong news. You'd expect the US dollar to come under pressure. Yes, that is the case, and as you can see, down she comes. Quite a solid move to the downside. Still believe in what's happening here in terms of this market moving around. And it is in a range there, 76.70 on the top side and the downside 73.50. Market can do anything within that area, but as long as it stays above this area and or 73, then we've got to assume it's relatively positive. Having said that, we did get some of the commodities still relatively strong, and there we have gold looking as if it wants to break out to the top side. A lot of resistance up here. Let's see what happens because this is just angling higher. As we've talked about before, silver, we prefer silver over gold. That has been a good move for us, obviously through 36 and up to 36, 34 at the moment. We might see if that dollar does weaken, that should support it, so should support the move. So let's see that continuing. I guess looking at some of the other commodities, crude slightly up, 93.55. For those that understand and see the twits, we jumped out of our crude short position, so we are riding at longs at the moment. Expect a little bit of recovery here, so just run with it. And if you look at seeing what's happening with copper, 408, relatively steady there. And if anything there, just off from its highs. But we really need some action there in order for it to break out into a trending market. Now, on the market, on the equity markets, as we mentioned, the SPY was up 34 points, a relatively solid move there, up 34. And I actually feel there's an intermediate low here. I know my good mate Clifford is actually calling it as well, quite a significant low. He's worked off these areas here, so with this sort of divergence here as well, you've got to anticipate there is a good scope for a move higher from here. So I'll actually support that. Whether or not it's cheap as chips and it's the start of the new bull run, I don't know, but I'm still in a range. We're at the bottom end of the range, so I'm quite happy to be long equities down here. Okay, also just if you look at the Dow, and just grab that, there we are by the mini, you can see that a little bit of a bounce there, a little bit of correction, momentum will pick up, that's encouraging back to a move to 20,400, seems to be on the card. Really is dependent on the EC and Greece. because the market seems to be reacting to any news that happens in Greece at the moment. So that's the caveat for this move to continue. So quite positive on that front. Looking at some of the softs, and I guess the key there is food inflation, a little bit of a low here, as you can see for corn and wheat. We've had quite a large correction, and we're right on support here. So I think if anything there, would find some support for these grains. We do have at G20 really talking about the grains at the moment. That should be a big thing, and as you can see, good support there as well. And that should support, I think, a lot of prices. They are concerned about food inflation, so that's something we're going to have to really keep an eye on. Aussie Battler, 106.05, just steady, but this sort of formation does look pretty bullish. I must admit, good support down at 105, a breakthrough 104.70 sends it lower. Dollar yen, which we've been on and off, down the lower end of the range, getting close to a buy, and we'll certainly let you know what we feel there when we do. In terms of economic news coming out, what have we got tonight? Today, Westpac leading indicators are pretty important, and industrial production in the euro, which is good, and consumer confidence in euro, all very important, and we've really got to see what's happening from that front. Bernanke speaks, FOM rate decision also, and I expect no change there in terms of what's happening in that area. So expect rates to stay on a low at 0.25%. Well, that's pretty much about it from me this morning. I hope everyone has a good day. As I mentioned, gold, silver, like silver. When I look at some of the grains, they're at good levels. Food inflation is going to be a big thing, so we're going to get heightened interest in the grain market over the coming days, so that'll be quite important as G20 talks about it. But that's pretty it. Let's see, and then hopefully we'll get a bit of a run on these equity markets. Well, that's it from me. Have a great day. We'll certainly talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.